You mentioned a phrase which I will remember, having written it down, and I can't write very well these days, listening to us in another way. I think that's very important. Our previous speaker, Sabine, mentioned the phrase, nothing about us without us, I think, in her first slide. This is a phrase which, as far as I'm aware, had its origins in the United States, of all places, way, way back, and is meaningful as well. So I think those two phrases are very important. Nothing about us without us, but listen to us in another way. So I commend to you, remember both. We now move to our last speaker, István, I always get your second name wrong, István Kappéter. István, I first met last year at the Alzheimer Europe Conference. I was extremely impressed with what he had to say on that occasion, and I'm sure he will enlighten us again on this occasion and speak, as he does, with great sincerity and depth about himself. Thank you very much indeed. Over to you, István.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. At first, if you don't mind, I want to tell you for the lecture before, in Hungary, I know a housewife whose Alzheimer's disease began when she was 53 years old. It was 26 years ago. She lives in great love with her husband. She took anticholinesterase every day from the third week of her diagnosis. She can make a very good dinner today for after 26 years after the diagnosis for her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. Of course, with the help of his husband, but she is very active and she is the main organizer of the dinner, and all people, all the children and grandchildren and so, they say that it was a very, very excellent dinner, better than every dinner. My question is, according to you, what's the role of the medicine, of the medicaments in these treatments? I think also that most important is the activity and so on and these things, but I know that there is not any medicine which can heal Alzheimer's disease, but these anticholinesterase medicines can a little make it slower, it's sure, but I don't know. What's your opinion about medicaments?
Would you like to just respond to that? The continuation of people who remain active, is that more important than the provision of anticholinesterase inhibitors, things like Aricept, rifostigmine, and so on? Is that more important? Is there a place for both? Is there a greater importance for one than another? Can I open it up to the floor? Would anybody like to comment on that? Agnes?
I'll keep it quite short. I posed that question to my consultant because I wondered what was going on, because I actually felt better 2 years into the diagnosis than I did at the beginning. And he said that he couldn't comment, but it was almost like a synergy. It was a mixture of the Aricept being loved and accepted in the Scottish Dementia Working Group and joining into the social setting along with acceptance. And he said, I would not like to comment, and I would not like to take one aspect away to prove a point. Carry on and enjoy life.
Thank you, Agnes. Anybody else like to comment? Yes, the lady over there behind you.
I am patient with Alzheimer's disease, and I am very glad that you told that it's very important to be active. I attended twice a week cognitive training, and I try to learn English still, and so on. I have many activities, social activities, but I saw that my friend with Alzheimer, she is only in daily stages, and at home she has no possibilities, and she is much worse than me. So I am glad that you spoke about needed activities and that we need to will to do something, not only take pills.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. I mean, it goes without saying that I would endorse that, but back to István.
Thank you. If you have time, you see, perhaps that I am a special teacher. It's very important, I think. I am teacher of pedagogy and psychology and physician specialist in neurology, psychiatry and psychotherapy, and then autism, futurist. I think these are all very important, but the most important is perhaps that I am a special teacher. I hope.
There's a controller, István.
No.
The arrow to the right on that side. You've got it.
My newest,
this one or this one?
Thank you. Huh? My newest stigmatization, as you see, is for having Alzheimer's disease type and Levy type, mild cognitive impairment with forgetfulness, plus with a lot of other diseases, of course. On 2005, I recognized it. It was not very good, you know. But I could not recall easily names and pictures. My local orientation became wrong, and I couldn't keep the order of the data. But I can see the watch, and on the other side I could draw a watch if somebody says what time is it. I think it is very important because it is late to begin the treatment if somebody doesn't able to know the watch. I look after for excellent neurologist friends. I am neurologist, but I worked rather with schizophrenics and not with these. I know that the overwhelming majority of human beings, if recognize obviously dangerous condition of themselves, generally react by denying it. I think it's very important. The mechanism of this is an unconscious suppression, as it was being recognized by Sigmund and mainly by Anna Freud, which is always stronger than the logical rationality. I have very severe examples, not only with Alzheimer, but I had a very, very good friend who healed a lot of people with with heart infarct, and he had a heart infarct, and then he believed it is not really a heart infarct, and he died. It is so, I think, also with many people with Alzheimer. I have many people, I am met them, and they are not willing to recognize that she or he has these. I feel my duty is to convince everybody that it is worth not to afford these unconscious suppression, but to ask a thorough examination, and if it's necessary, of course, it belongs to the examination. Without examination, you cannot sure that it is really an Alzheimer's disease. But if it is, then you have to begin the treatment. I think medicine as well as maintenance, the activity, and the loving care. It's very important, as I am sure. I have an earlier stigmatization for wanting revolution in the medical sciences and practice. I believe in the rehabilitative concept of the Hungarian unified special teaching that harmonizes with the concepts of dynamic psychiatry. We think that from the beginning the most important is the adaptation of the society with the remained abilities, and not the healing of the mistakes. But the majority of authorities and medicines and medical people, they believe that the main tasks of them to heal the problem and to diagnose the problem and heal the problem. They stigmatize us because we disturb their respect. Another stigmatization for realization of the inevitable end of the industrial age. I was always an anti-communist and critical with capitalism. It was not easy in Hungary, you know. I and the majority of the Hungarians believes that only radically new concepts will allow us to find better societal systems. The leaders of larger powers are exploiting people. The communist Hungarians and the traditionally thinking people of the leading capitalist countries are willing to accept and help the leaders of the outdated multinational firms and financial centers. They believe that it is a normal thing that Berlusconi made Italy into a very helped, perhaps, in question marks, that helped Italy to be a very bad situation, and he is the one of the much richer men, I think. And there are 10 people in the world who has one of them more income than Hungary from 1890 or so. No, I think it is not easy. We have a stigmatization because they say we are crazy. It is. I have many times heard it, and it was said by the first Hungarian president. Also, he had somebody who believes that communism and capitalism will fall. It must be crazy. And there are today also many people who think that we are crazy, who believes that it is impossible to go on with, because they believe that the everlasting form of the societal systems is the parliamentary democracy and financial market and so. We can be proud of living well after we were able to stand up to will to do with our dementia and other diseases. We can achieve that the majority of people accept us better than earlier because we are able to realize more than earlier that we have to be modest. Because earlier I was not so modest, you know. We can be proud if we are among the pioneers of the science who were generally persecuted earlier, you know, sometimes crucified, but later recognized as extraordinarily great and useful human beings. We can feel excellently well when we find partner in love with us. I think it's very important. Perhaps sometimes a daughter and so can be also very helpful. We can be proud if we are for the radical changes because we know it's always the revolutionists who can help the development of humanity. I was always rather a happy man, but I am even happier today, I can say you, than earlier. I thank for it my wife, whose task of taking care of me and loving me is not easy, I am sure, but it is easy for me. I thank for my family doctor, my neurologist friends, and psychologists who treat me. And our Alzheimer Society was very important. I find our Alzheimer Society, and I learned a lot of advices and so examples to how to live my life. My co-workers who helped me a lot, I can tell you my patients love me much better than earlier because they know that I have problems with memory and so, and I am more similar to them, and therefore they are very nice today. Earlier were also nice, but much nicer. I was always a happy man, as I saw. I thank for it to my masters in special teaching, in neurology and in dynamic psychiatry, for they helped me to elaborate a concept of living life that helped me a lot. I can tell you that many Hungarian very specialized psychiatrists who are not such concept, they committed suicide because they realized that they have Alzheimer's disease. I am not. I have to be thankful to the communists because they stigmatized me as an alien of the working class and forced me to work more than the other everywhere. In the clinic, I was also, there were wards in the clinic in Debrecen where I was. If there were not enough physicians, then I was the single in one ward, the single under, there was a head of the ward, and I was the single, and in other wards there were two of people, and so, and I had to change because I was not accepted. I should say ashamed myself if I am happy, and I wouldn't fight permanently for the many people with similar damage as I have. I think we all who are here, we can say it. We have to make it, and because it is terrible that there are many people who could be in this stage as we are here, and they are in a very, very severe situation, because, and the family, and because they are always fighting with each other and not with other places. Thank you very much.